Question and answer time with Todd and Aaron.
It's time for Q&A with TNA. By the way, that stands for Todd and Aaron.
Whoa, can you hear me? I can't hear you. Maybe.
How about now?
Yeah!
Did it again.
I was like, what did I break?
This button's got to be blue. That button's got to be blue.
Yep, this has got to be, that's got to be on. That's all I know. That's got to be on.
All right, back to blue. Welcome in, everybody, to Q&A with T and A. Todd Downing, how are you, sir?
Oh, man, it's been an awesome day today so far.
Good times, huh? UPS doing you some favors, it sounds like. So love the messages I'm getting as you're racing back to the shop there to.
Yeah, I literally was 2 minutes. I left the house, and 2 minutes later, I get a message that says, "Hey, guess what? UPS just delivered."
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for being an hour late, guys.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. Well, Valerie says, "Afternoon, guys. Please entertain me. It's been an interesting day." So, Todd, you guys can commiserate. It sounds like.
Oh yeah, we can have fun.
Pilar, thanks for joining us here, and Renee and Kelly, and this lady, I think you know, sir.
Yeah. I think I do. I think she must be sending a kid to bring the UPS, or she's just riding along.
Yeah, there you go. Nice. Well, thanks for joining us, Corey, and Richard. Appreciate you checking in. And Pilar, thanks. Yeah, I just got to remember to turn on my microphone. I have no idea why I always forget that, but anyhow.
I do all that, like when I set up. I'm like, do I have the right microphone check? Yeah. Do I have this there? I'm like, figure that out.
I was trying to keep the feedback from happening as the intro was playing, but anyhow. Renee says, "Look at you with your new microphone, Todd. Fancy." Yeah, very nice.
Like that. Super fancy.
And I'm over here now, so we don't know who over here now is. So
if you're a
Facebook user, if you'll head on over to StreamYard.com/Facebook, that will give them permission to show us who you are, so we know who it is. I've got some guesses, but we'll see who it is. And more Facebook users, hello. Martha, hello. Rena, hello. And
hello.
Terry, I missed you earlier, Terry. And Leanne, excellent. All right. All right. Good afternoon, guys. Aaron, Cheryl, Kuchek, and I said nice things about you on Women Plus Business podcast today. That's wonderful. I didn't have a chance to check it out. I was a little bit busy today, but I saw that was happening over there. I think I shared it. Where did I share that? Two Regular Guys, I think, is where I shared that. So hearing great stuff about that. I don't get to tune in as much as I'd like, but definitely have it on the replay thing to go back and check that out. Women Plus Business podcast. So good stuff out of Christine there. Whoops. Good stuff.
I know. Now I got to find something to drink, don't I? I got to find what's in this bag? I got shirts. These are for shirts that are, luckily it's raining because I'm pretty sure the game got canceled. But we had ordered on Monday because traditionally our orders show up the next day from SNS, and they did not show up yesterday. They got lost. So they were supposed to show up today, and, they're still an hour behind schedule. But the game starts 5:30. It's pouring down rain, so I'm pretty sure the game got canceled. But I still wouldn't mind getting them their shirts.
Nice. All right. Well, it was Corey over there. So Corey got bit by the Facebook gods. They shut it off, so I may have to do it again. But anyhow, that'll happen. Thank you, Kelly, for letting us know. And Ree, good evening. Thanks for joining us. And Joe, excellent stuff. All right,
good
Todd.
What?
It's been a little bit. I even forget what we're supposed to do here. What?
we're supposed to check and see if we have questions, and then from those questions, we can answer them. If there are no questions, we'll just make it up as we go. I mean, I'm sure we can come up with something. Like
no way. There's no chance.
Spent the day, trying to figure out, masks, and which way we could do those, That was a fun little project. It was a good learning curve on that. And then, hey, when you're smart, you're just talking to doing something else. So I've got those two things that I did. I've got a couple other ones that we finished up. Get those cut, and then I kind of did something else today too.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah,
excellent.
So we gave that a try, and that was fun. That was definitely a learning curve, to say the least, on doing that. But I was happy with the way it turned out. We'll see really nice. How the next one goes. But yeah, it was definitely fun to try and line this up here, because as you're lining the circle up here, and you're trying to make sure that the seam isn't as horrible here, and you just have the rim to deal with, and it was all the way around. It was a thing that made me swear. So. Definitely understand why these are $79 to $100, because there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it looks good from this vantage point. So nice work by you. And
thank you.
All right. So Maria checking in as well. Rena asked, Todd, did you ever break out the pad printer?
I actually just looked at it. So here's the deal with the pad printer. My printer that I have sucks for transparencies. Right? So in order to do it, I need to do 2, sometimes 3, and even 4 prints to get it dark enough. So my printer sucks for making transparencies, and if that's what you need. So, instead of just going out and buying a printer, Smart Todd says, hey, Corey, you're doing some water slide decals, right? So why don't you figure out which printer you need for water slide decals, and we'll just buy that. So that way it kills 2 birds with 1 stone. Corey's been a busy little lady and hasn't had a chance to. And in fact, we just talked about that probably within the last hour, because I got home about 4 o'clock because I figured the package would be there. And she goes, hey, that pad printer, you going to do something with it? And I said, hey, yeah, remember, I'm waiting on you and your printer. And she's like, oh, that's right. So she started looking at it too. So as soon as she picks out a printer, we'll go pick that up, order it. Then when it comes in, then we're going to be pad printing something. Some pad printing of something.
Cool. Very cool. All right. Nice. Well, we'll look for more info on that as you get that happening, and let us know what printer you guys decide on and all that kind of fun stuff. Pilar asked, did you use diamond cut rhinestones?
These are the AB regular AB ones. These are ones that we actually had on hand from Special Graphics. We ordered a bunch of different stuff from there, but it was everything that I had on hand here. So now, it was like, hey, instead of buying new stuff to see how it turns out, let me go ahead and go with what I have on hand, and we'll see how it all works out. So I was good with that. Look at that. My bag showed up. Perfect.
All right.
Bag.
Hey.
Look at that.
Thank you. Look at that. All right. Good stuff. Darn it. There I go again. Sorry.
Yes.
All right. So Renee says, looks awesome, Todd. Kelly says, I should have signed that one too.
We were just having a conversation about Kelly selling stuff, and I told her, just sign it. Just put your name on it, because people will definitely buy it then if you just sign it. So put a little stone cluster on it. Do something fun like that, and probably sell it for more than what you paid for it.
There you go. Pilar says Korean low lead.
These are, hold on, she wants to get all technical.
You guys are talking a language I don't understand, so.
I know. It's interesting. These ones are, yes, the Korean hot fix. I was just seeing if they were anything different. No, these are just the hot fix, because Specialty sells them weird. They sell them by the ounce. So they sell them, most of them by a gross. There's 144 in a gross. Does that sound right? Yeah. So there's 144 in a gross, and that's why, most sold by 10 gross, or is it 1440? It's 144 or 1440. I know there's a 1, a 4, and a 4 in there. But I think they're like, but anyway, they sell them by the ounce. So they just have ounce jars, and they just fill them up that way. So it's I kind of like the way when they do it that way, because then I've already got it packaged up, ready to go, and know what it is. I don't have to transfer it to anything else.
Got it. All right. 1440 is 10 gross.
Yeah. So 1 gross would be 144.
There you go. Cool. All right, man. Todd, there are some questions. So should we go ahead and get to some questions here?
Let's do it.
All right. All right. So now that you've had the 3 styles of masks in for a while, which is your favorite to press and why? Do you want to start, Todd, or would you like me to start?
Okay. So while I love the comfort of these, pressing them is a challenge. Especially if you want to do anything full bleed because of that seam. So that's why I was trying to figure out a way to kind of create a pattern inside of here, so that way you can use the white to your advantage, and it kind of looks like it's all, like it's supposed to be that way.
Yeah, yeah.
So with some trial and error, you could really get that nailed down there, because it's just there is the little flap seam on it here, so there are some issues that to make that work. So if you're just doing a solid image, just like the Anchor or just the Go Navy, perfect for it. Full, I don't know. I personally like the black rim ones the best. Reason being is because it's not white. On the other ones, you have to worry about the strings. The strings will change. Strings will sub with it as well. This one just has a finish. You don't have to worry too much about making sure everything is perfect and lined up. A lot more forgiving with this one. This is my favorite. I do like the other two for the simple fact that they both come with the adjusters, right? Those the white ones, full sub ones, both of them come with the adjusters.
Correct.
This one in the kid style does not come with the adjusters.
Yeah, that's the only one. And what happened there was we ended up getting the one that had the bigger. Oh, I just
string.
Forgot the name, but the piping, I guess, or the edge here. Piping is what might be called, but anyways, whatever it is, that edge ended up being the bigger version, and therefore those didn't come with the little adjusters because the adjusters don't fit on that. So anyhow, I asked them to straighten that up for us next time, so we may or may not.
Because I like these ones. I think they look very finished, but sometimes black doesn't go the greatest with everything, and that's where the full color ones come in. So I think both the flat ones are great because you can press quick. It's just one press done. There's not a whole lot of setup in it. Cost is also a little cheaper on these. So this is going to be your premium one that you're going to charge definitely more for, because it does cost more, but it's also going to take more time too. But it is also a lot more form fitting, and it's got the nose bridge in it as well.
Yeah.
So that's where I am with them.
Okay. Well, just based on the numbers alone, the two triple layer, the black edge ones, seem to be the most popular. Now, for me personally, I'm a little bit the opposite of you, Todd. I like these better. Wow, that's funny with the green screen. Back up a little bit. Because of the fact, like you said, the black doesn't always go with everything. And since these do have the black straps, I can with these, honestly, I could slap them on there with just about anything on the front of it and press away. So I don't know. I just like these because I do like that full, complete look. I definitely want to look at some that maybe have a opportunity to decorate the whole thing, straps included. Maybe the problem with those is that the ear parts aren't as stretchy and as comfortable typically. So you kind of.
And the other thing too is think how big that transfer's got to be. You've got an extra 4 inches on both sides of it, and that's a huge thing for just something that's like that. So
totally. So anyhow, so these are definitely my favorite. So we've basically told you all 5 of them are our favorite. But when Todd and I were going through these back before we decided which ones to bring in, we did actually spend some time discussing this, and from our experience in sublimating and whatnot, that we picked the ones that we thought were going to, maybe I realized that people want some different colors, and the black edge might not be the best, but it certainly is the most forgiving. I I think I talked myself into these fitted ones because they are definitely a lot more comfortable to wear, and they're just cool looking. But like Todd said, they're difficult. They're not easy to make. I did end up making this one today.
That we can't see.
We can't see because of the green screen. Here, hold on. We're gonna fix this right now. All right, there. I'm in a green room. Okay, so this is better. So this one, and I did. So what I ended up having to do though on these white straps, somewhere around here, I've got another one, but I actually put heat tape on over it right here on both sides. So I ended up.
Do you want me to tell you my trick on it? So I took the strings and I brought them in and I put them in that pocket. And
Okay.
just held it.
You know, that's interesting that you say that, because my wife actually said the same thing. Why not just put them inside? My concern was that when you do that, you're adding a layer that's going to cause some warping or, you know, some transferring to not be good. But obviously, if it worked, it worked.
I think it's not going to be any thicker. My thought is it's not going to be any worse than that metal piece that's in the nose. So that's why I'm like, okay, with fabric right there, it should be good to go. But yeah, you can see them on the back where, you know, I had the press mark in there from when it was there, but
interesting.
You'll be good to go. But that was because with like that, it's just, you know, one extra step that you're trying to do to make sure for it there. But yeah, what I did was I stuck my fingers in and then I just grabbed it and then just pulled it through, and then I was able just to bring it back out and it laid flat.
Huh. So cool. That's a good idea. Okay. I have to try that next time. Well, I taped all of these. You took 8 pieces of tape, you know, one on each side at each corner. So that fixed that. Now the other thing is the pressure on this was like, I had to lean on it. You know, I'm a 200+ pound guy and I'm leaning on the damn thing. So, but I was able to get it to where there's really no seam. So
very nice.
You know, I pressed another one. Now, the other thing that helps here is that the design that I chose was intentionally fairly light, was broken up, not a solid background color, stuff like that, because I always love going with backgrounds that are like that are not solid. I try to avoid the dark solid stuff as much as I can when I'm sublimating, just for the sheer sake of that blemishes are, you know, we can all look at everything that we sublimate and always find something that's not exactly right on it. But at the end of the day, how does that end product look?
Right.
So would you?
Yeah, like when we were going back and forth on these, you know, neither one of us was 100% sold on them.
Yeah.
But I said to the customer, and she's like, "Oh my God, it was amazing." And then so I said, "Well, kind of got some other. Let me show you something else." And I went with that and ended up talking her into this one because we this one. So they'd set one that looked like this, and that's what they had wanted, and went with it. So they had to take them from this to this.
Yeah, it is. Okay. Sorry, Kylene's trying to help me find the other one that I did without the tape. So you see where the straps got. And then we tried this one. Again, the darker, you know, we missed a little bit on that. So you can see it. But still did okay with the seam. So, you know, but again, you're going to probably ruin quite a few of these before you get them dialed in. And the darker the design, the more difficult they're going to be. So
it's like, it reminds me of the seams on the koozies, you know, if you're getting them flat, great. If they're already sewn, you know, anticipate on having something right there, which is why I try and always figure out my pattern and make it white, because, you know, when you look at that, it looks like it's supposed to be part of it. So it's always use the what are those, the imperfections to your advantage.
Correct. You call them smiles. You know, it's a unique product. Nobody else's face mask is going to have that little white spot right there. It's just not going to happen. So it costs you more, actually.
I'm thinking that we should just, you know, everybody should just sell it, and then you just put a red tip right here, so that way, you know, you always got the red nose on it. You know?
Red nose, nice. So, speaking, when you mentioned koozies, when I worked at Coastal Business, I used to get that question all the time, like, how do you keep the koozies from being like pancakes, and how do you get the edges and all that other stuff? And my answer was by buy them unsewn and sew them afterwards. I mean,
Yeah.
unfortunately, that's really, I'm sure, with getting your pressure right and all that other stuff, but to try to get the seams and not flatten the heck out of them, that's a tough thing. So, same thing here. You got to kind of work through what the potential issues are. And, so masks like this, where they lay flat, that's going to be
that's how you're going to not have seams.
Yep. All right. So let's see here. Oh, here we go. We're back to the rhinestones. There are approximately 4,500 rhinestones in a fluid ounce jar of SS10 rhinestones. So we're just getting clear on all of the rhinestone counts here, Todd.
Yeah. So that's what, about 4 gross? Is that right?
Again, you're speaking a language that I'm not.
A little over 3. So a little over 3 gross in it. So yeah, whatever. My math is right there.
All right, good job. Good job. I don't even know where to start, so I'd have to pull up a spreadsheet and then have to lay it out. And
I know that's why I get you spreadsheets, man. You love your spreadsheets.
I do.
Love just to say, here's this. Here's the start. Then I see yours.
And I'll take it.
It reminds me of, like, the first time you wrote your name, and and then when you wrote it after taking 4 years of calligraphy, it's like, here's my spreadsheet, here's Aaron's. Damn it.
Sorry about that. But how much time did I waste, and are we really going to need any of that information? I don't know, but who knows? All right, so let's see here. 3.12 gross.
Okay.
Or 30 gross, not 3.
30, yeah. Oh yeah, because 1440 is 10 gross, so it's gonna be like 31 gross or something.
All right. No, 3.12 or 30.12 maybe.
31.2.
All right.
I mean, you could probably count them.
Oh, geez.
I can
that'll make for a great program here, Todd. Why don't we just go ahead and why don't you pour those out, and we'll spend the rest of the time just having you count them one by one.
I mean, if we're gonna do that, hold on.
No, we're not gonna do that.
See how well this works.
No, man. Sorry, guys. I was kidding. I shouldn't kid with Todd. I knew that he would just go ahead and do that. You guys need to warn me on this stuff, please. Come on.
I mean, come on. We can go ahead and just count a jar.
Yeah, we're going to skip that.
Hey, find out how many are in there.
There is this theory, though, that if you held that up and you had everybody guess, and we had enough people that guessed, like 1,000 or something like that, that you take the average of that, and it would probably be pretty darn close to accurate. I can't remember what that thing's called, but it's they've proven this over and over again.
So the accurate way to
group mentality.
So the accurate way to know would be to weigh one, right? And then you weigh the glass, and then you weigh it all, and you subtract out the glass, and then you have whatever's left divided by your weight tells you how many are in there, right?
Yeah. Yep, exactly. So Tanya, squirrel, yes, definitely. We're chasing squirrels today, and everybody is a little saucy today, definitely. I think few people have had challenging days, so everybody just having some fun here. And Rena, that's exactly where I went too. Guess how many stones. And I'll load my camera on. Y'all can watch my hands, count them one by one. All right, let's do it, Kelly. Just kidding. All right, we're not going to do that, but and let's get to the next question, because we do actually have some more questions here. Where do you recommend to sell used equipment, cutters, heat presses, etc.?
2 places that I like to find stuff at. Facebook Marketplace, for sure. Well, actually, yes, 3. Facebook Marketplace is kind of like the new Craigslist, because Craigslist used to always be able to get stuff, but now it's kind of hit and miss. But Facebook Marketplace, and then also it's digitsmith.com, so DIGIT Smith, SMITH.com. That place deals with a lot of used equipment, and it's crowdsourced, so like a forum, you can go in there and put up your ad for it. So Facebook Marketplace, I like Marketplace because most of the times you're going to find somebody within driving distance, so you don't have to worry about shipping. When the Digit Smith is going to take you, anywhere across the country, so you'll get that question, how much for shipping here, how much for shipping there. So me, Marketplace is one, and DigitSmith is two. And then a lot depends on what you're going to buy, because some of the stuff, locally, I wouldn't be able to sell it for anything, because who's going to buy it? Who in my area besides another printer is going to want to buy, one of our printers or something like that, whereas DigitSmith opens it up to a broader group of people that are actually in the industry looking for things like that.
Yeah, good suggestions. In fact, Christine helping out here. The DigitSmith right there, I think, is the link. So if you want to check that out. So, and I think, if you're looking to sell, the other thing that I think is worth thinking about is in some of the groups. Obviously make sure that's part of the group. They'll allow that. But if you're just looking to move something used, I don't know what the exact rule is in the business basis group, for example, Todd, if that would fly or not. But I know there's plenty of groups out there where,
for the most part, I like it to. I mean, this might sound horrible, but I always like to see it first to know. I want to see who it is and see what it is they're selling. Two reasons. One, I don't want somebody coming in just to sell stuff. I want you to be able to add to the group, contribute, and just not coming in there.
Sure.
And two, maybe it's something I want, and so I want first crack at it.
So just sell it to Todd is what we're saying here. Okay.
If screen printing set up and Aaron says it's okay, hey, you never know.
Hey, you can do whatever you want, man. I'm not going to have any part of that. That's a mess. Just a mess for me. So I'm just messy when it comes to that stuff. So. All right. Let's get another one here. And how do I get over my fear and try new things?
Hello. You just do it.
Yeah.
It's like this is a great example of it. I'd seen it done a couple times, so why not give it a go? And there's some screw ups in it, and I can see some stuff that I need to go back and fix and redo. But it's one of those where you're going to have some screw ups before you have some successes, and that's just part of it. And you just need to know that you just need to do it. I think that's the biggest thing, is just overcoming just that fear of not doing it. You just got to do it.
Yeah. I mean, here's the biggest thing. And so Todd and I are a lot different in this, as I think we've seen. Todd on Tuesdays with Todd and stuff like that. I'm sitting there watching and I'm just cringing, going, "Oh, that'll never work." And then I'm like, "Oh, that kind of works." Okay. So, he's diving right in. I've got this little analytics side to me that's like, okay, but I've seen this, so how are we going to make this happen? And I don't mind diving in and trying a few things and doing that, certainly. But I think here's the biggest tip, though, is you have to understand what the value in that is for you. So if a lot of times the fear, get over my fear and try new things, where is that fear coming from? It's the fact that you're not focused on the right part of it. You're worried about screwing up. What you need to be worried about is not screwing up, because the screw ups are actually the education, the information, how you get to places that you can, try new things, do something that nobody else is doing, that kind of stuff. So couple of things there is understand what that fear is and what's holding you back, and think about it in a different light, as in, if I don't try that, I'm not going to ever advance and I'm not going to ever be able to move forward. The second thing is, this is where I think what you and I talked about early on, Todd, with OSG and the 5 keys and stuff like that, is really understanding your numbers and really understanding pricing and all that stuff. Because if I'm going and I'm buying this, and I'm just throwing numbers out here for easy math, I'm buying it for $1 and I'm selling it for $2 because that's the profit I want to make, then I'm going to be in trouble, because what happens when I do have to try something, or I screw one up or something like that? So kind of getting my head wrapped around what the numbers are and what my numbers are, and understanding that I've got to have some in there for testing, for trying, for, Todd, you said the other day on Tuesdays with Todd, when you're new getting into mugs, plan on buying a case and just burning through them. So put that cost into what you've got to get back in profit.
Yeah. And a lot of it, when if you don't have all your costs on there, I don't know how many times I've seen people sell a 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 piece order and then come back with, well, here's how do I do this? Wait a minute. How did you figure your cost? Because, how do you not know what your ink cost is? How do you not know what your paper cost is? How do you not know those costs? But you were able to give a price for something. So that's a huge mistake. I mean, if your costs were off and you're off $1, then you're at a 1,500 piece. That's $1,500 you just lost. Now, if you screw some stuff on the way, you could be breaking even, or it could be, a business crusher for some people if they're $1 off than where they were and they're losing money on each one. So, having those that fixed thing down is a start.
Yeah.
On training side of it, when we say, you put money aside for training to that's the same as this. If you buy, if you're just going to spend a couple hours a week and you're going to buy some stuff for training, that's what you're going to do is you're going to figure out how it works, figure out how it presses. Anytime you get a new press, no two presses press the same. You kind of get there, but everything's just off a little. A lot depends on your area where you're at. On humidity, on temperature. What is it? Is it up there in the mountains? Everything cooks different, right? Because
high altitude.
Yeah. So things just are different in different places. So you just got to plan on testing and things not always come out right. And like this, man, I totally screwed up. I got a couple different templates I cut. I've got some that were wrong, but I got to a point where I'm like, I'm just gonna go with it and just see what happens, so I know what not to do next time. And that's what you learn is each time you screw something up, you learn, okay, well that didn't work, I need to do this. Okay, that didn't work. There was a great example. The first one was huge. When I looked at it, and I'm thinking, oh, I can go ahead
to get
and do
those
this.
out of the trash. The ones I tried.
I'm like, this isn't making sense. So then that's when it was, okay, let's just resize it. And so then it was resize, put on here, resize, put on here, and just kept going until now there's pretty close to a pattern that would fit inside this panel, inside that seam on both sides, and then it's fine. So it's just a lot of that, trial and error, that you just got to do.
Yeah, for sure. So real quick, Todd, back to the number part, though, one thing I just wanted to kind of leave people with, because we were talking about, how do we get over fear? And I want to make sure that we're not increasing your fear by that. Here's the way I look at it is we want to have a pretty good handle on our numbers, and that's important. But there's typically always more room. We can probably get more than we normally ask for. I can't tell you how many times people, when they finally have bit the bullet and just said, okay, yep, you're right, I'm going to raise my prices, have come back to me and said, oh my God, the best thing I ever did. I got rid of the customers I didn't really want to deal with. I'm making more profit now. I feel more comfortable. I'm trying new things. So it's more about that, understanding that, you're going to win some and lose some, and that's okay. I mean, if all of a sudden you lose on a job, yeah, that's going to hurt. But if you have a good understanding and you're now you can add that in and you make sure that you're making profit, and that's what the profit's for. The profit's for you to grow your business, to learn new things, try new things, and all that other stuff. So, because profit is that part of the business. If you're doing your numbers right, you're getting paid inside of the cost section of that, not inside of the profit section of that. So, as you're growing, I get it, and it's not the easiest thing to do, but you've got to take a few risks but knowing that those risks are calculated risks, they're investment risks. They're, I'm making an investment in, okay, I'm going to add mugs. So, I'm going to spend the $60 on the case of mugs that I know I'm probably not going to be able to sell. And then guess what? If it only takes you 15 to get there and you're selling after that, that's all bonus money that can go on to the next potential trial, So that, I guess that's what I'm going to leave people with.
And my thing is you definitely got to do it. I mean, that's it's almost like, I would rather say I did it and failed than wonder what if, and that's just the thing. You can pretty much get a general idea of what something's going to cost you to do and kind of see if it's worth it based on that. I mean, you've got my calculate. I mean, I got to go back and double check my numbers, but it was about $37 in total supplies for this. So if you're going to have 37 bucks in this, there's no way you're selling this for 50. There's nothing to be made off it, and so you got to look at that. There's so many times where I see people get sold on a product through a webinar or a training class or something where somebody, here's this widget, this is going to be the best seller for your sublimation business. Let's show you how to do it. And of course they've ruined 10,000 of them to make sure that it's perfect for it. And they, bang out a bunch of them and you're sold on it. They're great salesmen. And then you get it home and you're like, what the hell am I going to do with this? It was a year or two ago, the coasters for the car, there's the sandstone ones, there was the hardboard ones and the neoprene ones and that. And it was like, those are not something to me that I see people craving to buy. That's more of an impulse. Oh, I have this. But, there's people that thought because, hey, I saw this and this is what they did, that I should buy, 100, 200 of them just because I'm afraid that they're going to go out of stock. And then what happens is they go out of stock because everybody bought them. Then everyone's like, why did I miss out on this? And they go back in stock. And pretty soon, there's thousands of them out there and maybe only 5 or 6 of them are sold because, there's not a real big demand for it. Because on a lot of that stuff, you got to create that demand for it. It's just one of those things.
Yeah. I know that to not be true, but you just have to find the right place. I know people still to this day selling on Jane.com 300, 400 sets in an event. It's unbelievable how those things sell with a monogram on them, So,
and let's take that monograms, great down south, but the farther north you go, it's tough. It's tough for me to, get stuff with monograms on it. And it's because it's not necessarily that they won't sell, but it's just a harder sale because it's not people here that they're craving for. It's down south. Bling and glitter and that is great down south. It's up here. It's almost one of those things where woodsy type stuff and farm type stuff sells great around here, where somewhere else it just might not because it's not areas. That whole Southwest flair on things, with those colors and that sells great in that area. Other places not so well. So it's knowing your area, knowing your market, knowing your end user and who you're trying to get to is probably the biggest thing there.
Yeah. No, I agree, and there are definitely lots of products where, you get kind of roped into it, or you take it on. Heck, I'm probably got I don't have one here. I may have one of those things sitting in my basement here soon too. I thought those little key tools would be something that people would want, and they just haven't hit the ground running yet. So we'll see. Not giving up yet, but but you got to have some of those things. You got to have some of those. You got to try it out. You got to be willing to put yourself out there a little bit, because you'll never know.
Yeah, and those, my plan for those is trade shows are going to come back. The pad printer will be working, and those will have OSGs, and they'll get handed out, and then it all came back. It all came full circle, and we're good to go. That's the plan for if worst case. Yeah, exactly. So, again, is it a risk? Certainly. Is it something that's going to be the end? No, because it was a calculated risk, and that's the way you got to look at it. That's what business is. It's a series of calculated risks, and that's okay. And that, again, that's where you've got to be understanding of your numbers and be ready to make a profit. You can't put it all in there and then expect everything to go perfect. It's just not going to happen. So you got to start small. You got to outsource. You got to there's lots of different ways to get your business started, but to just go dive all in and hope and that be everything, then that might be a little bit of a challenge. So it's totally like that with screen printing. It's something that one day I'm just gonna get like a 6.4, and just to have fun with. But as far as doing it, man, it is just way easier for me to sub it out to somebody. And I would rather be a salesman and not have to deal with the mess and not have to deal with the problems and just police my order and pick my order up and give it to my customer. It just I don't think there's a whole lot wrong with that, and I am seeing more and more of it with people where you become the salesman. And when people say, I don't know about that, I want to have control over my business. How many MLM businesses out there, and that's all you're doing is you're selling somebody else's stuff. You don't have anything involved in that, and they give you the materials, they give you this, you go sell it, and then you make your money.
Yeah.
You're making 30 to 50%. You can do the same thing with anything that you sub out, and that could just be your business. You could do it, shirts, banners, signs, decals, sublimation transfers, mug, anything. There's somebody that will produce it for you, and you'll make a decent profit, turn around and sell it.
Yeah. And when you talk about, wanting to have control of your business, even when you're outsourcing, you've got control over that. It's up to you to go build the relationships with the people that are willing to do that kind of stuff with you, back and forth. To say, okay, I'm going to outsource just means you're going to send orders out there. No, that's not it at all. It's a two-way street. It's you've got to work with them. You've got to understand what they need. Because here's the deal. If they're giving you wholesale prices, they've got to create some efficiencies within that to be able to, allow you to have the most profit you can get too. And so you've got to do your part. You got to submit art the right way. You've got to understand the process. And like I said, it's one of those things where you have complete control over that. You build a relationship. You understand what their values are. And, yes, mistakes are going to happen. But even if you're making it, mistakes are going to happen. So do you have that relationship with that person, with that company that you're working with, that allows you to feel good about the fact that if a mistake happens, it's going to be made right, and everybody's going to be happy. So
that balance, it's finding that balance between it. I mean, I remember, when I would take, a couple days to do, a big order, say 500 shirts, 3 days, you're going through it there. And when you can see an auto machine bang it out an hour, you're just like, no wonder you can sell a shirt for $6 or $5 because, what took me 3 days took you an hour. It's a lot, and it's just one of those things when you see those mass production things. And even with that, I mean, there's plenty of people that are just 1 and 2 man shops that have an auto. Then that's just what they do is, they know what their numbers are. They know how many shirts they need to sell per day. They have it down there, and there you go. They're all about taking those, 24 to, 200 piece orders and just banging them through them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you're looking for a screen print kind of contract person, somebody to work with on that side, find somebody who just got an auto, because what's going to happen is they're going to be used to production on their manual press scale. And now, like you said, all of a sudden what used to take, a full day is now done in an hour. And so now they've got a press that's just sitting there, and they need to put shirts on it. They need to feed the thing to pay the lease payment, so they're really willing to, they've got plenty of capacity that they'd be willing to loan you for a nice price.
Yeah. I think an auto would fit in your garage. A little electric.
No. All right. So speaking of that, Terry says, in fact, if you want to talk screen printing, Terry's the person to talk to. She's CMO Screen Printing Supply. She says sometimes we have to jump out of our comfort zones to realize what we can achieve. I think that is very pertinent to our discussion there. Todd, I popped this banner up just a second ago. I want to pop it up one more time because got a few folks, and we won't dive into this stuff right at this point here. But
it's a good one.
Yeah, we may have to come back to that one on another Q&A. But again, if you're showing up as Facebook user here, if you do us a favor, even if you've done it before, just head over to StreamYard.com/Facebook. And for whatever reason, Facebook from time to time clears out all the permissions that were granted to be able to show a third-party service. StreamYard.com is what we use. So we can't see you until you put that up there. So
I think we could bang. I think both those. I think that's all in the same question with the same person. Legit. Let's go to that because they don't just because what is that? They're up to 5,500 so far.
Oh, and then there's more.
Yeah.
But wait, there's more.
There's more.
Well, we do have another question that came through Q&A. So
get that. I mean, we got nothing but time. Go for it.
Well, we can save this, or we can.
We got 2 weeks. I bet whatever question it is, we can kill in 2 minutes, and then we can dive into that one because the one on the screen is a really good question.
All right, fine. Hold on, let me get the.
Come on, King of Stretch. I'm talking. Let's go. We can do this.
Hey, yeah, it was supposed to be 30 minutes, Todd. Remember?
Yeah, that went out the window when we started going every 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so. When starting sublimation, what are some of the easiest blanks to learn on? Do you have any advice for sublimation newbies, especially in regards to soft substrates?
You're going to screw it up. That's just, I mean, that's the best advice I can give you. Don't worry about it. You're going to screw it up. I think mugs are easy. On soft substrates, I stay away from anything that has a seam. Seams are the devil, especially when you're just starting off. They're going to create nothing but the problems for you, and you're not going to think that it works. Personally, I love the hard goods, picture frames, anything that you don't have to really worry about. That's the other thing with sub blanks too, is don't forget about the lint. How many times have you thought you've got it all there, only to look like you now have blue marbling through everything because you forgot about the lint. Not so much of a deal with the hard goods, but soft side. Like I said, I usually stay away from it. My go-to right now, mass. They're selling what's hot. They're what's everybody's needing. As schools and things are going to reopen and they are going back, it looks like everybody's going to be requiring them. So if you're not selling your school's masks, somebody else is going to. So soft goods on that. Hard goods, I like I like mugs. I like the picture frames. Christmas time, you can kill it on ornaments. So those are things. Slate is another good one, but you're going to spend money because you're going to wreck some, and those are things you're going to wreck. That are going to cost money.
They're, $10 a pop. So
so you're going to wreck them. But that's the thing is, once you have that down, in my grand scheme of things, what I would love to do is for every substrate that I sold, just have its own press, and it would just always be set for that one, and I wouldn't have to screw with it anymore. It would just perfect. So the way around that would be, I guess, get an air press, so that way you can set the exact, everything's set exactly the same each time, because your pressure can be off here and there. It's just a matter of testing it. But those would be my go-to products. And like I said, you're going to screw stuff up, but that's just part of it. If you haven't screwed anything up in sublimation, you're lying to me, and I don't appreciate that. So. There's that.
All right. So the for me, like you said, soft goods. And the cool part is that yes, the masks are something that, like I said, are selling really well. They're fairly easy to press, especially if you have black straps or and they're flat, or you have the black edging, that kind of thing. So soft goods, the other soft good, let's see. If you're looking for a soft good though, that is like super easy and fairly forgiving, mouse pads. Mouse pads are and there's all different styles too, rounds, and, you can get the ones where it's like in fact, I got one right here. Like this kind of a deal here where it's just an insert kind of thing, and sets in there, and it's still got the little gel. So any of this kind of, now the problem with mouse pads, especially if you're doing it a lot, be prepared for the smell, depending on where they come from and whatnot. They do smell a little bit. It's the neoprene, I believe, as far as I can tell. So that's, let's see, mouse pads, talked about masks, waffle towels, waffle towels. Those are a good thing to do. The reason I like those is because you don't typically all over decorate those. So again, if you're just putting, little fun sayings or logos down where they'd hang off the stove, then, those are really cool to do.
They sell great at the holidays as well.
Yep. Garden flags are there. They're a little bit challenging to do. They can be a little bit more challenging to do. You got to make sure you got a 16 by 20 heat press. B, you have to, they tend to want a ghost on you. So you definitely need to spray them and watch what you're designing on. A lot of, for whatever reason, the most popular garden flags designs I've seen are these black and white checkerboard ones. Oh my God, those are the worst to frickin' make. They're a nightmare to make because they ghost like crazy. So, yeah. So let's see if there's anything else that I'm missing. Those are a pretty good start. Like Todd said, the hard surface stuff is definitely a bit easier. Any of the aluminum stuff's pretty simple to do. The thinner things, anything where you can kind of like get an insert and press it. That is the cool part. That's the thing I certainly love the most about sublimation is that the amount of different things you can decorate is unbelievable. I mean, David Grossecondi told me that they had like something like 15,000 SKUs or something like that. Now, I know that includes like their whole entire warehouse. So it's not just the blanks, but I remember at one point, when I was at Coastal, I think we were close to over 1,000 SKUs of just sublimation blanks. So it's incredible what you can make. So, all right, well, must be having some difficulty between StreamYard and Facebook. So we'll figure it out here. All right. So I think we covered that, Todd. Are we good on that one?
Yep. Yeah, I think so.
And I believe it looks to be, I can't tell if we're, okay. I think it's a 3 or 4 parter here. So we'll start here. And let me just read this for everybody if you're not in front of the screen right now. So the question is, I'm trying to get over the fear to pull the trigger on a Uninet iColor 5050 and sublimation toner. But so far my bill is up to almost $5,500 with some sample paper and does not include tax and shipping yet. I just found the papers are almost $350 for 100 sheets. How can you make money? So that's first part. Second part was I was hoping to start a sublimation business, but do not even know how to draw. Nor do I, by the way. And we'll have to pretty much max out 2 credit cards to start this business. And I'm not sure if that was part of this or not, but we'll see here. And then again, I think this might be part of it too. I spent $6,000 on vinyl cutter, heat press, clip art, and accessories only to find out my vision is not good for weeding, fine detail. I was just hoping to find a way to earn an extra $500, $800 a month, then thought self-weeding transfers and sublimation would fix this. But it is way more costly than I thought. I do not trust modified inkjet printers. So trying to decide between the Epson F570, which only sublimates, and Mike Clog versus a Uninet iColor, which is more versatile but costs way. I'm assuming more. Okay.
Holy crap tack. Yiller. All right. So it always scares me when I see people buy equipment, but they don't really have the plan behind it. Perfect. Edward Henry. Okay, now we know who it's from. Okay. Because you need to make sure that the business is going to be able to support these payments on it. Because if not, you're just pissing away money, to be honest with you. You got to have the business there to support it. Because everything that you did, that you're talking about, you could sub out and have somebody else do while you build the business up to it. The iColor is a good solution, but it's with its own issues. There's a process to make those. It's print, marry, press, pull, jumping jacks. There's a process to go through to make that work, and there's a big learning curve with that. I think sublimation wise, the Epson, the 24-inch one is a very good. If you're going to get into it, and you're going to, you need that, is to go with that. If you don't have the design, I would lean towards the Sawgrass, because one, you've got the creative studio in it. So you've already got your mock-ups and things in there. And then a lot of things that are in there, you can go on Etsy and you can buy a design already for that, where you can just add a name drop or do something like that to it. So the design part is already done. Here's the template that I need something for. You become an assembler. You find something you like, you find something you want to print on, you put it together, add some text, boom, boom, done. It scares me when I see people invest that kind of money, because if you don't have the business coming in for it, then what's the return on it? I mean, if you're spending $5,000 and you're hoping to make if you're hoping to make $500 a month, that means you need to sell, let's say $1,500 just to be safe by the time everything's said and done. So
you got to make the credit card payments.
Yeah,
and interest on that.
Yeah, so you've got to really to sell to get that out of there. I mean, and I'm not saying that can't be done. I mean, if you would have told me, 5 years ago that I'd have, $3,000 and $4,000 and $5,000 days, I would be like, BS, that doesn't happen, but it happens. It's because you just build the business as it goes. So you got to start somewhere to get to somewhere. Thing is we've grown with the business. As we saw we couldn't do things, we subbed it out, and as we subbed those out, we started realizing, hey, we need to keep some of this back so we can start doing the things ourselves. Sublimation was an easy one to get into because we did it with the converted printer. We already had the heat press, so it was that was the big expense. The printer was $500 to convert, and we were able to make money off of it, and we still had it. Yeah, we know the printer's disposable, and we know that it's not going to last forever. But we went into that researching, knowing where we were with things. But you got to make sure that you're not digging yourself a hole by spending all this money on the equipment and not having the business there to back it up.
Yep. Yeah, I think that it's definitely something to really think about. I'll give you my two cents on both the toner transfers versus the sublimation. I've been involved with both. I've actually been pretty involved with Oki. I know the guys over at iColor. My problem with sublimation from a toner printer is that I've yet to see something that's ready for prime time. Because here's what the deal is. When you've got toner, it's basically powder. It's, kind of a fine powder. But it's still a bigger particulate than a water-based ink. And what happens is you get toner scatter. And with toner scatter, it looks grainy. It doesn't hit. So it's definitely one of those things where, it sounds good on paper, but sublimation out of a toner printer, I've not seen anything great yet. I know Oki themselves worked really hard on it, and then I think they shelved it because they couldn't quite get there. I know iColor has certainly worked pretty hard on it as well. And again, I've just yet to see anything. So I'm not completely like poo-pooing on it, but I don't think it's quite the same as doing an inkjet print, like an F 570 or something like that. So that's the first part. The other part is the self-weeding papers and stuff like that. Your heat press has to be really, really good. We need a pretty good even pressure and stuff like that with sublimation. For toner transfers, it has to be not only really good and even pressure and even heat and all that stuff, but we also need to make sure that it can give a crap ton of pressure because when you're marrying those sheets together, you're throwing away, $3, $4, $5 if that doesn't happen right. And that can be pretty costly pretty quick. So there's a learning curve there. So yeah, I think if you're looking to buy equipment, it's definitely a toss-up. It depends on what you're trying to do. I think there was maybe some other comments in here, let's see here. My main desire is to add full color art to wood, mugs and such, hard substrates. So talking about mug presses and all that other stuff. And let's see here. So there are places to buy printed shirts and such at a low enough price to still sell and profit. Absolutely. On-demand type places, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. I would think that, why didn't I even think of that? Yeah, if anybody is out there that wants to set something up, I mean, Aaron's the perfect resource for that. On print on demand, if you just want to create one shirt, here's the limitation of the shirt. That's the biggest thing that people have to overcome is here's the style of shirt. You don't let them tell you what style they want it on. You tell them what style they're getting it on. You set that up, send it to him, prints it, you get it, you make some money on the back end, and really there's not a whole lot on your side of it. So shirt-wise, perfect scenario on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely one of those challenging questions because there's not necessarily a right or wrong answer. I mean, you could go invest in these things and do really well at it. but we've unfortunately seen way too many people make these investments and then fail miserably too. And that's the part that, honestly, that's one of the reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing now compared to what I used to be doing, 6-7 years ago. I hated watching people walk away after spending, $5,000-$6,000 with me. I spent more time trying to talk people out of things than into things sometimes. So I don't know, outsourcing your transfers. We can do some transfer. There's lots of people, so we're not here to pitch anybody anything per se, but if you went over to modco.biz, we can do some transfers for you, some sublimation transfers. If you want to check that out. So, and those will come off the F570, so you can see the color. Like Todd said, the problem with the F570 is that there is definitely a disconnect between the art side and the printer side. I mean, you're basically using a print driver, and there's not a lot of color control. And I can tell already that I'm going to be probably investing into a RIP software at some point. Because of just layout and color and all that kind of fun stuff. So with the Sawgrass, like I said, you've got the Sawgrass Studio that you can, it's all kind of right there. For me, I'm printing out of Photoshop or something like that. And there's a lot that goes into getting those prints right and laid out correctly. And so it came from lots of trial and error already. So
everything's a learning curve. That's the thing,
So, yeah, definitely. Let's see. I'm just trying to see if we've got anything else here. I have a Hotronic 1620 auto clam. Good press. The clams sometimes don't work the greatest with the A and B sheets because of the fact that when you're going like this, you get more pressure at the back than you do at the front. No matter how good your press is or how much that head floats, you can have a little bit of a difference. So the swing away that comes straight down are a little bit better. Fusions work pretty good for those ABs, or actually the one that most people that have the toner transfer systems like the most from all the people I've talked to are the Instas, because those things are like tanks and you can put so much pressure on them and they're not real difficult to use. So, all right. So what else we got here, Todd? I have a plan, growing my Etsy shop. Cool.
Yeah. There's the plan. And that's one of the big things is just having the plan. You have to know what the goal is. I can't say I'm going to buy a horse and am I going to be, is it a show horse? Is it a rodeo horse? Is it going to be a herding horse? What is it going to be? Because, I could get the wrong horse for the wrong game. So it's definitely having that plan in place. It will definitely help you, get to where you want to go.
Yeah. Yeah. So, kind of wrap this up here. Todd says, I have a design for a waitress friend who passed away and wanted to get help turning it into shirts to give to other waitresses as a memorial. I've talked to Todd before. He knows I tend to jump in head first, then, in all caps, check if the pool has water in it. So,
pretty much, yeah.
We're cautiously trying to tell you to check for water first.
Yeah, that's why they have the zero entry pools. So you don't have to dive right in. You can just kind of wade yourself
right in. Let's get on the stairs first because it's a lot less painful.
Because I've seen it myself way too many times where people bought things and I was there too, where I bought things that probably weren't the best investment for me to make at the time. And some of the other things worked out. It was one of the biggest things that you have to realize is that if it's just you, it's just you. And there's only so many hours in a day, so you can only get so much done. Whereas, when I'm printing, I can set up, I can spend a couple of hours getting all the files ready to go to print, send it to print, and it can do its thing while I'm still doing something else. I learned over the last, 8-9 months that the Pro Spangle machine, it needs a lot more babysitting. It's basically like an embroidery machine. So I can set it to go and do so much, but when that job's done, I have to go over to it. It just can't move on to the next job. It needs to come off and go on. And while I love it and it's made me money at the same times, I hate it. It's one of those where I'm like, all right, so if I can get 10 grand out of it, what else can I get in its place? Which I probably don't need to put anything else in its place, but it's one of those where if I could add something else to help the business grow, I probably would, because while I love the machine and it's made its money and it's paid for itself, and it took about 6 months to pay for itself. So it did really well, and it continues to do good. I quit really trying to push it because just the setup time consuming part of it. If Corey was almost at a spot where she was going to either, poop or get off the pot type of thing. It was like, if you're sticking with tumblers, if you're going to stick with tumblers, great. What can we do to set up? If not, here's a Spangle machine. Here's what you're going to learn. Here's how you're going to do it. And here's what I'm telling you. Otherwise, we're just going to turn around and sell it. And so she picked up the tumbler side of it. So now we still have our continual customers who order the same things over and over that we get with that. And as far as trying to push new things out there, unless I know it's something that I have a stock design ready to go for, it's such a pain. It is. It really is. It was one of those things that I got it for a hell of a price, and I knew I could make money off it. So why not? And that's kind of where we at with it.
Nice. Yep. I get that completely. All right. So it says the longer this pandemic lasts, the more people are moving to buy from e-commerce shops. Yeah. Just look at what the shipping. I use ShipStation. I think we've talked about that in the past. I needed some help with something today. I went on their support channel to try to talk to somebody, and they said that their support is closed today because they have too many tickets and they have to answer all of the tickets that have already come in. So they'll be back open at 8:00 tonight to try again. So if that doesn't tell you that more e-commerce is happening, so having a Etsy store or something like that, very important nowadays for sure. So.
Well, and look how many, let's see, we did what was it, last night we talked about it? So we, when we went on to Mexico, we still didn't have a lease for our new spot that we're in right now. We were supposed to have it before we left, and we actually got it while we were in Mexico, and we got a month free. The month free was February. Awesome, right? That you get it, on like the 27th of the month, and you got that month free. So you're gonna start paying in March. So that was brilliant. So we get back, and we got back on that Wednesday. We had the shop open on that Saturday, and that's just because Aaron told me he was coming. So I'm like, damn it, I need to hustle to get this done.
I didn't realize that.
So we opened up on that Saturday, and then that was the 10th, and then the 16th we closed because the governor said Illinois is shutting down. We haven't been open since. So, we're still not fully open to the public there. It's one of those things where we've seen a lot more businesses where they're like, we can do this online. We don't need the storefronts. We don't need the warehouses. We don't need all the stuff we needed before. So you're going to see more and more going online, and more people are comfortable with just ordering and picking up, ordering, having it shipped. This whole, now I think Amazon helped when, shipping was like 6 weeks on stuff, because people understood, hey, if Amazon, who can get you everything in 2 days, now is taking 6 weeks to get this stuff, I'm going to give the guy down the street 10 to 15 days to get everything done, and it'll be fine. So I think we're training the customers now, on how to do things and how we want to. And I don't think they care where you're at and where you're doing your stuff at, as long as they get the product and it's what you promised them. So, here we're 6 months into our lease, and we've been open, 16 days.
Wow.
So, it's crazy to think that, but there's tons of places that are just like us, and we'll more than likely.
Talking yesterday about the getting a storefront and stuff like that, and I was kind of going, it's a tough decision to make right now. I probably would not pull the trigger on that. There was a little place up in Cottleville that kind of came up for lease that was right on the corner of the main street of the little city that I'm near here. And my thought was, that could be cool place to put the DTG printer. And then my next thought was, look at how dead the streets are.
And not only that, but then once you have that storefront, you're tied to it. Here are the hours that I'm going to be here. Here's the hours that I'm doing something. And so what our plan now is, we're just going to decide to, if we end up going to another storefront, which I believe is going to happen, we're just going to buy a building, and it's going to have a minimum of 3 units in it, whether it's 2 residential in our commercial or all 3 commercial. So that way the other two places will cover the rent for the place, or the mortgage for the place, and then basically we have it, mortgage free. But our money will still go to that, because don't forget, when you do something, you create another account for that, so you can pay yourself. So technically you get to double dip. It's kind of cool that way. But we can just set it by appointment only. Our first little shop, was 400 square feet, and that's where we got our feet wet, and I loved it. Saturdays we were there from 9 to 3, and that was when we were open. Everything else was by appointment only, and it was great because I could just go in there and work, and people would just come in and pick up stuff, and there was no hassle. There was none of this come in and just hang out type of thing. But I'd have friends that would do that, and they'd show up with beers, and it was great. So I really missed that. So I think that's what I like.
Time, Todd. Jeez.
I really missed that. And I wouldn't mind going back to that, where it was just like, here, people show up and they bring beer and drinks, and friends would come in, they'd help fold shirts, or man, it's crazy. A couple beers to weed stuff out, and they'd be like, man, I don't know about this, and so they'd weed. Here's the big chunks they would weed out, and it was fun. So I think I want to get back to that, where it's just, here's a shop that I have open. It's private, make it by appointment only, and then I can just do what I want. But it's 6 o'clock, and I left at 4 to try and deal with UPS, but I'm there since 7. And it's just when it's your business, you work twice as hard for half as much. That's what it is when it's your own thing. And then, you're gonna do. This is what you're gonna do for the first. Anywhere, let's be realistic. Unless you have something that really hits right off the bat, you're going to do it for the first 3 to 5 years, where you're going to put in that sweat equity and stuff, because you're trying to see how things are going to work, and then it's going to go from there. So I know,
but it's your sweat equity. It's coming into what you're doing. It's not. I can't tell you how many times I put in tons of sweat equity into other people's businesses. Fine, that they were paying me to do that, and that was the deal. But at the end of the day, it didn't really ultimately matter how much I worked, so that's what I love about small business, having my own business, all of that stuff that, it's just, you gotta embrace that, and like you said, it's that sweat equity that you've got to put in. I think it was yesterday that I got interviewed by Gail, if I remember right. The days are kind of running together right now. But one of the things we talked about was, what's one of the big mistakes that small businesses make? And I said they treat it like a 9-to-5 job. They're kind of, okay, I can do what I want and take off when I want and all that. So absolutely true. But you also, as my friend Terry says, you have the right to work every hour of every day. And sometimes you need to do that. It's that cycle thing. You've got to work in cycles, and where, yes, I want to be able to take off and go do stuff with the kids or go to the school function or whatever. But guess what? Most of the time after you're done with that, then you get to go back to, Todd's in the shop right now. You get to go back and put in those missed hours to get everything done that needs to be done. So you got to take the good with the bad.
It's one of those things. When I left, the full-time gig, I took a huge pay cut. When you factor everything in, it's half as much as what I was making before. I'm working twice as hard, but I also love it twice as much. It was before I was so stressed because, I was trying to keep everything consistent with the day job and make sure that was running as smoothly as it could, while I was still worrying about my own business. So both places weren't getting 100%. We've had that focus target. You got one focus, and guess what? You go two. How can I give 100% to both things? And now, and there's times that I slack off, and I'm not saying you need to work 24 hours a day. Take some time for you. That's why you're in this, to be able to do the things that you want. But then don't complain when you're like, this isn't working and this isn't that. And then we talk to you, and you say, well, this week, I've watched, I watched Tiger King for the 37th time, all the way through from beginning to end, and I haven't got it. Or maybe you're on your 23rd showing of Hamilton. I'm not going to judge, but it's just one of those things where you have to know your priorities, because when you work for yourself, it's so easy to slack off because I'll get to that, I'll get to it. I promise. And then, 4 hours from your deadline, you're finding out stuff's wrong. So you just gotta prioritize, set that schedule, try and stick to it.
Yeah. All right. Let's get a couple more comments here to close this out, Todd, since we're at hour 15, and I still have to go do my taxes. So, I should be able to get that done in like a half hour, right?
Yeah. You just give it to somebody and have somebody else do it.
Oh, yeah. Do you think they could do it tonight yet? Still? We'll see. All right. Kelly says, Spangle transfers onto the Bling anything onto the Starbucks cup.
I think you could. It's one of those where it's just that process of setting it all up, because with the Spangle machine, whereas with a template, that you're brushing stones in, you still have, you have all this. When you're on that Spangle machine, you don't need to have those spaces in between there. So you can really tighten some stuff up and make it really nice. Washability, I don't know how it is. It's something that I could definitely play with, but then that's a day of just, let's see what's going to happen with it. And if it's something, I guess I need to fall in love with the machine again. Maybe I need to court it a little. It needs to talk nice to me, tell me, I'm pretty or something, and I'll fall back in love with it, and
right.
we'll have a great marriage.
For you, send it up.
Yeah.
It works.
But Roxy, when she's on point, she does a great job, and that could be its own business. And I think that's something that a lot of us, fall into that trap of. We need to offer everything, and we don't. As much as we want to, we don't need to offer everything, because if there's only one you, how are you doing vinyl, HTV, screen printing, laser engraving, tumblers, spangles, rhinestones, DTG, sublimation, transfers, how are you doing it all? There's only so much. So it's just one of those where you got to realize, it sucks, but there's only one of you. And if you really want to do something, you do good at it.
Yeah.
I mean,
mastery is what's important, so working towards mastery. And like I said, if you're spread too thin, you're not going to get to mastery. So you're going to be way better off, being the best at one thing and then adding something else. But all right.
Yeah.
So Kelly says, you're so pretty. I think that came from the Spangle machine, Todd. So just throwing that out there for you. All right. I just started printing tumbler accessories with my 3D printer. Oh, that's cool. I like that. I'm basically doing print on demand right now. You all have mentioned Equid about 1,000 times and finally set it up. Thanks. Cool. I like that.
I want to know what tumbler accessories are.
Yeah, what's the website there? Well,
because is it something that sits in? Is it a handle for it? Is it I don't know, a tumbler accessory? Is it something that attaches that I can change in and out, that I have a reason for it? Is it something that I can add there? I don't know. I'm very intrigued about tumbler accessories, because maybe I need to buy a 3D printer. There's another thing that I totally would love to have.
Odd.
But what I need to do is so here's the goal that I need to write on the wall here is grow every mode of conversation that we have to 20,000 people. So then these companies will just say, here's a machine, try this out and give a real review on it. So I can it's almost like going to the animal shelter and getting to play with the puppies. Yeah, I got my puppy fixed and I got to go home. I didn't take a puppy home. It's like, let me play with the machine and realize how much I hate it and I don't have real time for it, but at least give an honest review. And then I can send it back, and be like, this is great. This is how this works. I will stand behind this. Because I'm telling you, I think I know everybody watches everything you do online, because the more we talk about DTG and the more that Freedom Jet keeps popping up on every one of my ads and says, you can print on polyester. I bet I've seen that thing 5 times today. And I had YouTube on the background, because typically that's what I do, is just throw something on there and let it go. And then the ads pop up and there's that Freedom Jet that says, hey, yeah, we can print on polyester. Hey, yeah, we have a continuous rolling system, so you don't have to worry about, heads drying out if you're not using it. And I just see, it's stuff like that where I'm intrigued by it and I want to try and break it.
Huh. All right. So Decal Ranch stands and cradles.
Stands and cradles. Interesting.
I'm going to go see what I can find here. Well, there's Etsy.
Yeah, you go find that.
All right, I'll find that.
We coming up. So as we wrap this up, we have the Decorators Community Party on Friday night, 7 p.m. Central. Keep Aaron there as long as possible, because then he'll follow that up with 8 a.m. Saturday morning, which is, you can't be hungover if you're still drunk. So, hey, it's a good way to look at things, I always think. But you have that on Saturday. Who do you have on Two Regular Guys on this Friday?
Henry Moff from Racoma is joining us to third time actually with Henry. So he's been a regular guest. and he's going to be talking to us about bouncing back. Kind of the gist of it is kind of looking at your current customers, what people are doing, what the shifts look like, and things like that. So should be really good information from Henry as usual. So yeah, that's happening on Friday at 10 a.m. Central Time over there at tworegularguys.com, and you can click on the button right at the top to go either to Facebook or YouTube, whichever one you like. So,
and from there, you can find the link for the Decorators Community party on Friday night there. I think Tuesday with Todd, I've got samples. I think I've got cosmetic bags coming from Seaside Sass Designs that I'm going to try out and see how those press. If I can get good enough at these, I might just, show Matt up and be like, yo, this is definitely not as easy as you make it seem. I can swear a lot more than he can, so we can make it more fun. But it's getting the process down, and it might be one of those things. I think I've got 7 more of these to do, so we might save one and go from there. But that's what I got coming up from next week. So we'll break something, we'll tear something up. I still got to figure out this whole mug in a bag thing. I think cutting it and then taping it will help there. But other than that, that's what we got going on.
Cool. All right. So Todd mentioned the party. Just so everybody's got the link. It's tworegularguys.com/party. Nothing to sign up for. Nothing you need to do. Just head to that link. It'll give you all the details, and you can even click on a big button right over there on the right side that gets you into the Zoom room that it will be happening on, and just jump in there and hang out, and we've got to let people in the room as they come in, and we'll just be letting people in. So it should be fun.
Get it. Stands and cradles for production. So today when
Here we go.
Yeah, I was totally using
I got it on.
Okay. So I had that one that's that black one or that white one that looks like a crisscross applesauce with the thing sticking up. What is that? How does that work?
Tumbler stand. I'm guessing that you stick that on there.
Oh, so for a drying rack. Got it. I'm thinking, when I was thinking cradles, I was thinking this sits in this so that way I can decorate on it, which would be the one with the green. That makes sense now. I wasn't sure what those ones are.
Cool. So then we've got inserts. Cool. Okay. All right. There we go. I like it. Good stuff there.
So those inserts are perfect because you don't know. You don't know much about tumblers now.
I do not.
So what that is for is on the motor side. You've got the stupid piece that you try and get in a cap or glue or whatever to hold it there so it stays steady with it. Doesn't necessarily always work the greatest. That insert is going to take that and convert it from there to the PVC. Totally clear thing. I'm going to save that link or get a hold of me because I'm going to send that to Corey so that way she can order that, because we've got 2 of the turners that are kind of irritating her, and I think that is my problem solver right there. So good to know. Yeah.
Problem solved. I'll message it to you here in just a second. All right, cool. So let's see. You covered. You're gonna Tuesday with Todd. Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about on Small Business Saturdays yet. I've definitely kind of hit a little bit of a wall on not necessarily a wall, but I'm just kind of torn. You guys know me. I like to talk about some of those more woo-woo, bigger topic things, and we've hit a few of those things. But I also understand that we need to also get into some reality from time to time. So
define reality. What do you
the nuts and bolts of things. So I don't know. I was thinking about trying to print some polo shirts on the DTG machine.
I think we should do some blends to see how those turn out. I think that would be a good thing.
I've got a lot of requests for that, and so I can. We could do some testing. I'd have to get some shirts here. So
one of what was I've come to realize, you said something earlier about spreadsheets and my spreadsheet versus your spreadsheet. I think when I think of stuff, when I think of you were kind of like a phone book of spreadsheet, where it's all there. And I'm kind of more like the bingo card of it, where just, every once in a while something comes out and it's bingo, I got a match. Let's go with this. And you're like, no. We got to go to B's. And this is how this works, brother. This is what we're going to do. All right.
Yeah.
So that's why it's that natural where it's that yin and that yang. That's why we get along so well.
Valerie says hangover cures at the cocktail party is successful. Yeah. My hangover cure that seems to still work for me to this day is just making sure that I pound a whole truckload of water and hit a couple of aspirin, and then I normally feel pretty decent the next day. Right before
because I get the old man peas where I got to get up like 80 times and I don't sleep. So my be all end all cure is usually Denny's. Denny's is you get that the country fried steak and eggs. Some over easy. Yeah. That's the ticket that usually does it for me. But now since there's no going out, I haven't had that for a while. We realized that we went out on that 16th for dinner, and then since then we have only been out one time, because everything was closed. So it's once again here it is. About 4 months later, and we've only went out one time. It's a whole different world out there now.
Yep, it is for sure. All right, let's see here. So yeah, we'll figure that out. Terry says regulator shirts. Yeah, print some of those.
Oh yeah.
Here, I'll see if I can do this without totally. So I did print this one just the other day. Got a new two regular guys shirt here.
You got to move to your left.
Oh, my other left. There we go. That's better. Now I'm like in the screen.
Yeah.
So
look at that. Would you look at that?
Yeah. Turned out pretty good. Oops.
You're getting the hang of this whole DTG thing.
Well,
just imagine if you would have had it sooner.
Yeah. Just imagine if I would have a sublimation printer sooner. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's throw that there too for a second too. Remember, when you're getting this stuff, just because you order it and pay for it doesn't mean that it's going to show up the next week. There's oftentimes where a payment is due on your equipment before your equipment even gets to you. So that's always a fun thing to realize that you're paying for something that you haven't even got to use yet.
Uh-huh.
So
yeah,
think about
especially when they tell you otherwise. So that was disappointing to say the least. So, but that is totally part of it, though, Todd. I mean, to understand. And this is where you really got to think about it, because here's the other thing. So I got DTG and the sublimation printer and this kind of thing, but that wasn't, okay, that's an investment, but that doesn't mean that I'm ready to go. You still got to buy shirts. You got to buy blanks. Oh, I need blowout paper. Oh, I need silicone sheets. If I need to do, I got a roll of mouse pad material so I can do things besides t-shirts on the DTG machine. With the transfers, I had to buy tubes to be able to ship stuff. You have to buy shipping supplies. There's a lot more that goes into it. Plus, like you said, you've got to have the money set aside to be able to make that payment when it comes time. So, when you're when you're making the investment into the equipment, like I said, it may be a better idea to look at the big picture of things first.
Oh, 100%. There's a Can I tell you about the CNC laser I want to buy?
I'm going to I have to get some new dry erase paper for my walls so I can add a piece in here of all the equipment that Todd wants to buy.
So this one's there's a CNC. It's a CNC plasma cutter, and really it would be more. It would be more for hobby, more to do stuff just to have fun with, more of like, hey, I can do this. We kind of got talking about it a while ago, but in the golf cart world, there's a lot of times you want to put stuff off it and you have to make custom brackets and things like that. So a CNC plasma will do that. You could cut out the plasma if we can just do this. And it's like $4,000. So if I buy it today, I won't even, and I pay for it all today, I won't even get it until September or October, because that's just how far out they are. So, that's spending $4,000 today and not seeing anything for 3 months. So, yeah, it's definitely one of those things to think about when you want to spend money on equipment. Is it something that I really want to spend money on and not see it for a while? And part of me thought, 4 months is a long time. I mean, I could get Corona and not make it. And then, this machine would just show up to remind Corey how much I loved her, it would be, or it would be like its own Christmas present. It's like, what is this? What are they coming down the street for? It's just one of those things. So that might be on the horizon for me, but that would be more of just a fun project thing to be able to play around with. But we could make really cool stuff with it that probably, I wouldn't do anything with, but I still would have the option if I wanted to.
There you go. Love it. All right. Well, Todd, I think we've done it 90 minutes in. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Any questions, anybody needs anything, you know where to reach us. I guess one last thing to remind everybody of, Todd, and where's mine here? Success Tracker. If you've not signed up for the Success Tracker, please do. Get a fun certificate. Where's my round to it? Yep, round to it. So here's the deal. Here's hold on. Before I get into that, Valerie says sounding a lot like the moonshine still.
Oh my God.
All right, we'll come back to Success Tracker. Go ahead, Todd.
We're still backlogged on that. Still, I'm just gonna. You told me if I wanted a refund, I could do it, but yeah, they brought in extra help to alleviate the problem of this. Of here's hey, we're really far behind it, and the thing is, the guy's been really cool about updates. Hey, here's the orders I'm working on. Here's this, so you can see that when your order 2355 and they're on order 1600, you're going to be waiting for them. But he's showing updates of it. If anybody wants their money back, he'll go ahead and refund it back. So I get it. Small business, it was just him and two guys, and they got hammered with orders. They do it. What was it? In 2 weeks in sales, they did more in 2 weeks in sales than they did all of last year combined. So when you have something that's hand built, you can't really compromise on build quality. So yeah, totally get it. And I'm just kind of stuck in between where I'm like, do I just request my money back and get it, or do I just, it's going to show up one day, because like that I damn near forgot about it, and they'd be like, oh, what's this? I can make my own hand sanitizer now, type thing. Okay, so that's that.
All right, good. Well, I knew that was gonna take some time. So, all right, well, let's get back. Let's just talk Success Tracker real quick here, because this is something that to both of us, Todd, but really near and dear to our hearts. I think it really kind of brought everything together for what we're doing with our success group, because it gives us a way to help people push towards their goal. For me, it's always been about how can I inspire action. What is it that Todd and I can do that will inspire people to reach their goal? And I don't care what your goal is. It could be, next to nothing. We'd certainly love you to pick a goal that's going to stretch you, that's going to make you reach. But whatever your goal is, we're all about it. And no goal too small, no goal too big. And so the program is just that. It's you pick out a goal that you want to accomplish in the next 12 months. You tell us what that goal is. You give us $20 to be able to kind of put a little skin in the game yourself.
You invest $20 into yourself.
Invest in yourself. But the $20 is going to help us cover the cost of some of the shipping and the swag, because you're going to get swag. Start out and you get this round to it, achieve success, time to get around to it.
Then you get something like this.
Yeah.
One or
once
two.
you reach,
We'll see how they come out.
Milestone, you're going to get a mug. So again, it just reminders, physical things that you can have in your hand to remind yourself. But you get the certificate that it says, hey, you're reaching for this goal and you've committed to that. We give you an instruction sheet. The whole
perfect. I totally thought, I'm like, these are perfect for the Success Tracker, because it goes to show you still reach your goals without being perfect, right? Hey, that's what it's up.
Please do not shoot that, Todd. All right.
Whatever.
So anyhow, to me, Todd, this is, like I said, one of my favorite things. Obviously, we'd love to have people become members, because I think that's where we can do the most help. And then when we get into our next phase, which is hopefully coming soon, In fact, I got some more stuff done today, Todd, from Rom Deep. So
I did see that. I seen the messages from him that came through, so I knew something was happening.
Yep. So here we go. Brian says, I did a Kickstarter a year ago that's supposed to show up this month. Cool.
Sweet. It's almost like the Glowforge. Remember, it was like 7 years in the making. It was like it'll be here. We promise. Be here. We promise. And then it was like, when there was going to be I think what it come down to, a class action suit of like, hey, there's all these people that haven't gotten anything yet, and it's been promising, and then magically people start getting it. But yeah,
nice. All right, let's answer one more question, Todd, and then we'll call it. Okay. Do you think face masks with HTV on them will sell as well as sublimation?
Tough question, because I've done them both. I prefer the sublimation because there's no feel to it. Sometimes it just, you got to do with what you got to do. And I did plenty of just our full. When we first got our first mask in, they're all black, so there was nothing. I can't sub on this. So it was either screen print transfers or HTV, and we did a couple hundred of them, with either transfers or with HTV on them, and no complaints. So you got to do what you got to do. I think you get more bang for your buck on the sublimation side of it. Reason being is you can do full color. You can, personalize really quick. There you don't have the added labor of, the weeding that's in there. So I think both sell well. I just think the sublimation will sell more better, more
yeah.
something.
Yeah. I agree with what Todd's saying, but I don't think that if you're just doing heat transfer vinyl that you're going to be upset about adding face covers to your line. No, I think those will sell well also, but if you got a heat press.
I think the other thing too is most people don't call me up and say, hey, so do you screen print or do you direct to garment, or what's your printing process on this? They say, can I make a shirt? Can you make a mask? They don't ask how it's getting made. They just want to know if I can make something with this. And you tell them yes. So, we got to stop thinking like decorators and like consumers. I don't think this is worth $25. Guess what? A consumer will spend $50 on it. My bad. I don't think, that this would be, they do a lot of, they just don't care. They know what they want. They have their price point, in mind. So quit thinking like a decorator and start thinking like a consumer, and then you'll be good to go.
Yeah. I think that's perfect way to frame it, Todd. You gotta think from your customer's perspective and understand why it is that they're buying from you, not what it is that they're buying from you. The figuring out what to do, all that stuff, that's got to be secondary. Once you figure out why your customers buy, there's, a bazillion ways to go about getting things done. Like I said, there's plenty of people that just sell and outsource everything. And there's people that do a little bit of both. There's people that buy transfers. There's people that, heck, there's people that are making money with, crafting stuff too, so you can do all sorts of things across the board. The what you do is not important as much as it is why they buy. So
yeah, because look at Walmart. What does Walmart actually make? Nothing. They're just a reseller of other people's stuff. So that's what when it comes down to retail, somebody made that stuff. Walmart doesn't have workers in the back that are producing each one of those. Stuff's coming in, they're just reselling it. Walmart's workers are in China. That's how it works. Good value for a reason. It was done over there. There's so many times we got to get over that misconception of we have to do everything, and because you don't. It creates a lot of stress when you try and do everything.
For sure. All right. Well, last little thing before we go, then, Todd. Montco.biz, if you guys want to check that out. We kind of put this together over the last few months. We're getting a lot of feedback of, people needed help. So we got the mass, able to do some DTG work. We can do some sublimation stuff. Todd, you've also got, plenty of things, decals, things like that. So, because here's the deal, and here's what it is for Todd and I. And I encourage you guys to have something similar to this. we have our goal, and that's to provide resources that empower over 1,000 businesses to achieve their idea of success. So what that does for us by having that, and Todd and I talk about it all the time. When something comes up, should I buy the CNC machine? What do you think about this, doing this stuff? If we can't easily say, does it help us get closer to that goal of providing resources that empower over 1,000 businesses to achieve their idea of success? If it doesn't fit into that, then we don't do it. But if it can, then we do it and we go all full bore into it and then see if it works.
That's why I don't have a screen print set up yet. It just doesn't fit. It just does not fit that mold. Now, the color, the eye color is something that I have had my eyeball on, because we have had requests for that. That is one of the bad things about printed HTV, is that a small chest logo like the one that you have on there.
Yeah.
The printed HTV, that small text for two regular guys, it would just probably chew through, and it would be a bear to weed. Whereas on the two-step laser transfer, there's people that want the color, and that would fill that void, so I could offer it without saying, hey, it needs to do this or that. So yes, it's been something that I looked at, and I just need to smooge enough people to maybe just have one sent to me to try out, and then just keep it and go from there. I see so many fun YouTubers getting all this stuff. Why can't I get stuff, man? Why can't I get
All right, cool. Well, that's all we've got for you guys, I think. Todd, unless you got anything else over there.
No, I mean, we could go on for another 3 hours if you let us, but what happens when you only let us out of our cages once every 2 weeks, That's
right. That's right. Yes, this Q&A session is definitely a bit more loose, a lot more about just having some fun, hopefully answering some questions and doing that kind of stuff. We put a little more structure around the other things that we do. I know, Todd,
the scene was irritating me, so I was sitting here messing with the scene to get it, so it wasn't. I can still see it right there, but I was trying. There's a little pot. It was just irritating me, so that's what I was doing.
All right, cool. Todd, I think that's about all for today. Hour and 40 minutes should be plenty of time, I believe. So let's call it. And thanks everybody so much for joining us. Make sure that you get over to. So in 2 weeks from now, we'll be back again for another Q&A session. Make sure you get over to oursuccessgroup.com/Q&A. And if you get it in there, we'll get it answered. All right. So let's make sure that we get our questions in there, please. All right. All right, everybody. Have a good one. Todd, have a great night, sir.
You.